All right, everybody, welcome back to Seaweed Brain, a Percy Jackson podcast, culminating our Hot Girl Odyssey Summer series, where we have been spending the whole summer reading, watching, discussing, analyzing adaptations of the Odyssey in preparation for season 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians based on the Sea of Monsters. We thought it'd be a great exercise for us all today to engage in what are the versions and adaptations of the Odyssey that don't exist yet that we want to see, and we're going to pitch them for you. Stay tuned.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds, bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss, lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This episode outline is entitled The Woke-Dacy, which gives you some idea how we are coming into this. We are not, I think, necessarily trying to give notes to Christopher Nolan. We are trying to say, if you are an aspiring indie screenwriter, somebody who does novellas.
If you want to work in the YA literature space, we're giving you free inspiration here. Consider this IP up for grabs.
Yeah, public domain.
Public domain IP coming at you right now. And these ideas are going to be so hot, so developed, so in the zone. You're going to be like, I can't help but turn that into a screenplay right now. My only ask is that if you do write a book and it gets optioned, or you write a screenplay, you put me in it somehow. That would be really great.
Give
That's
Erica
jobs.
Give Erica, I don't know,
a SAG-AFTRA union card.
Yeah. Have Erica blurb your book if it's a book, you know?
God. Wait, new Seaweed Brain pipe dream unlocked. We blurb someone's book. At this point, that might be more attainable than getting on Pop Culture Happy Hour, given the current state of funding for programming.
We still haven't listened to that behind the scenes. They've like said basically how they do the bookings, and we haven't found out, but we will, and we will get booked. Mark it down. Anyway.
I love your confidence.
Jessica, hi, Jessica. Jessica Reedy is the showrunner of Pop Culture Happy Hour. Anyway, what are we doing? We're going to dive in. We're going to start going basically character by character and say what untapped potential is there to have a thoughtful, empathetic engagement through this person's perspective on the story of the Odyssey that will, I think, help us all to see that original story differently, more expansively.
Yeah. The art of adaptation. Wait, I feel like I should be opening with a quote from the film Adaptation by Charlie Kaufman.
Adaptation. For those of you who are afraid of Charlie Kaufman and also of Nick Cage, like I am, you should also know that Charlie Kaufman, 2002 movie, stars Meryl Streep. And I was shocked. I was grabbing onto things for stability when I found out that Meryl Streep and Nick Cage co-starred in a movie. And many people regard it as good and famous. I learned this like a few weeks ago, but we're all learning together, and Eric is going to read this quote.
John LaRoche says, "You know why I like plants?" Meryl Streep says, "Nuh-uh." John LaRoche says, "Because they're so mutable. Adaptation is a profound process. Means you figure out how to thrive in the world." Meryl Streep, "Yeah, but it's easier for plants. I mean, they have no memory. They just move on to whatever's next. With a person, though, adapting is almost shameful. It's like running away." We are going to tell you how we think that the stories and characters of the Odyssey need to adapt to survive in the modern world of I mean, not everyone, but Carter and Erica's consciousness.
Yes.
Begin with Polyphemus. All right, what do we got?
Polyphemus is a tough nut to crack, I feel like. There is one argument that Tyson kind of is woke Polyphemus in the sense that that's very reductionist. But I think
Daniel's Tyson especially is going to be woke Polyphemus.
I think so. And to the extent that the great horror of Polyphemus is engagement with difference gone awry, monstrous other, then Tyson is there to basically say not all Cyclopses, right? Like big and different is not scary necessarily. Sure. That's fine. But like, because Polyphemus like represents so many different transgressions, I think it's hard to be like, this is the one you know, like Cersei's key transgression is like being a woman with power who talks back. Polyphemus like eats people, and I think it's there's not exactly like a one-to-one like, oh, we in our society have decided that actually we've all been really mean to people who eat people, and there's going to have to be a rewokening on that. That being said, the first note, as we I think mentioned last week, was Polyphemus is gay. A caveat that we need to add into that since last week is that I believe it's Euripides. Somebody already wrote, like one of the great Greek playwrights wrote Polyphemus in as basically a butt of the joke, tragic, comedic character who is a pederast.
Oh.
Explanatory comma time. Pederasty is a concept that is maybe for, say, like 13 and up folks out there. It refers to like a phenomenon in ancient Greece where men of status, power, wealth of some degree would take on boys as their, like, I don't even think romantic is the right word. They would have sexual and amorous interactions with boys specifically. And it is, I think, not really that good of a map onto what we think of as gayness today. It wasn't necessarily an identity category. It wasn't certainly constructed to be a relationship of equals, although there were very few sexual relationships of equals, I think, in ancient Greece, based on what we understand. So, like, in this story, he is sort of a drunken, oafen pederast, and that combination is played as the butt of some jokes. Throwing that out there as maybe context for the idea that Polyphemus being gay could be the grounds for a modern adaptation.
My pitch for Polyphemus is gay, and this is IP up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. Gay Polyphemus twee monster romance book. It's a twee monster romance along the lines of That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon.
This sounds like a trendy anime adaptation that you're also describing. There's
also
like a lot
available
of titles
for
like
optioning.
this, like The Demon King Reincarnated as a Fast Food Worker. Like,
absolutely. Somewhere in between like Legends and Lattes and That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, where Polyphemus is a lonely guy who lives, he's a Cyclops still, but you know, at the heart, he's a lonely guy on his island. And it plays on the idea and the theme of guest rights being violated within the Odyssey. Polyphemus is like waiting for somebody to show up to his island so he can throw the perfect dinner party with his sheep. He's like, this is his life's mission, is to like host the best possible dinner party. And all of a sudden Odysseus shows up and he's like, ugh, it's a hero. I'm going to have to kill him. So there's like a little bit of like an enemies to lovers thing going on, but then also they're stuck on the island together. So there's only one bed, right? There's only one bed in the cave. Odysseus and Polyphemus end up falling in love and they do host the perfect dinner party together. And then Odysseus is like, I'm just going to stay on the island forever. And Polyphemus is like, oh, finally. And then they like move into the future doing the same thing where they're like, oh, the two of us just want to host the perfect guest for our dinner party.
Do they still eat the sailors in this version of the story?
I think that Polyphemus does eat the sailors because that is how he's been like, that's kind of like what he feels his role in society has to be. And that's sort of how we get the enemies in the enemies to lovers, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, you ate all my friends.
Realizes like that's actually okay.
It's okay because they sucked.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. They were not being good guests either.
They were not being good guests. Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, is the vibe that Polyphemus then is kind of like, how would you say, a stuffy elitist who has a lot of preconceptions about what a dinner party is supposed to be and also wouldn't respect the sailors as potential dinner guests?
Yes, I think a cross between like Squidward tentacles and Bob from House of Hades.
Okay,
that's
I
where
understand.
my mind is at. But the idea is now yours, listener. You take this and you run with it, all right? Twee monster romance. And then if you write this book or write this screenplay or write this anime, I would like to play Sailor Number 4. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think this makes sense. The word on the street is that we're gonna see what John Steinberg and Dan Schatz and Co. and Craig have in mind for us as far as woke Polyphemus. So yeah, maybe yeah. I would also be interested in the story of Polyphemus where he is like a loner by choice. He's not like Cersei. He isn't exiled. He just like literally doesn't want to talk to people. I've been canvassing for a political campaign recently, and there are a lot of people, when you knock on their door, they're like, that's not correct. I do not live here to talk to strangers. Like, the point of me having a private residence is that I will not interact with you. And that is, I think, an ethic that maybe is common today and is not, like the ancient Greeks might have frowned upon it because their whole like traveling between all the little islands, this is necessary to survive. But I would sympathize with the polyphemus who basically is just like, no, you entered my home, and so it's game over. And this is why. Tragic backstory, Polyphemus. He let somebody into his house one time. They were gay. It didn't end well. ... I don't know.
No, they were gay, past tense, as like an active verb. They were gay.
Ate them. And then he ate them. And then they stopped being gay because they were dead. Anyway, sirens.
Okay,
this one's
being
fun.
Gay is not a thing you have to actively do with another person. You can be gay alone. I think Polyphemus was still gay, even after he ate his boyfriend.
The other person stopped being gay because they became dead. And I think that those are conflictual states of being. Yeah.
You can't be gay in the underworld?
I guess
thought that was the whole point of going to the underworld.
In the Greek specter, you would, I guess, still actively be gay in the underworld, yeah.
This hell is better with you.
And that is Rina Sawayama.
Got my invitation to eternal damnation. Get in line, pass the wine, bitch. We're going straight to hell.
People are so mean about that song, but I think it's aged pretty well.
I love that song. Next up, we have the woke sirens. Now, I have a pitch for this that was pitched to me that I have to share with everybody. Do you have something to pitch first, Carter? Before I dive into this headcanon by Sammy O. All right. Samantha O, friend of the podcast, frequent Patreon guest, has been on the main feed as well. I was sitting in the living room and I was like, God, how are we going to pitch woke sirens? It's like a girl group. It's like they're a girl group. And Sammy, who, like many of our friends right now, is deep into her Sex and the City rewatch era, was like, hear me out. It's the sirens, but it's, and I'm going to quote, I transcribed directly what she spoke out loud as she spoke it. Quote, Sex and the City type vibes. At the core of the show, it is these 4 women. And in theory, the core of their existence is to lure men and entice them in. But there is truly only one constant, which is them and their bond. It's about sisterhood and how they are able to navigate through this world only because they have each other. How powerful women are together. So there we go. Everybody, this Woke Sirens is a TV show about a group of girls living together on an island who every week there's a new man in their lives and they think that everything revolves around this man and pulling him in and showing him his dreams and then eating him. But actually, what it's really about is sisterhood. It's about their bond together. Their eternal, forever, monstrous sisterhood that they experience on this island together. It was never about the heroes.
They don't know that it's not about the heroes when we first meet them then.
No.
Right? Like they are like actively, right. They're on the prowl. They're trying to get those heroes to shipwreck. Okay, yeah.
But unlike Sex and the City, you can cast Cynthia Nixon and let her be an extremely obvious lesbian. Call it out in canon on your show.
I think that's perfect.
I think it's kind of rock solid.
Yeah, I do think that the girl group pitch would also work.
And you can make it a musical TV show, have them do numbers. Have them do girl group numbers.
And cast Erica.
Oh my God, that's the way that they lure men in. In this TV show, the like way that they entice the men is by doing like K-pop level
high production
choreography.
Music numbers. And I think similarly, like the core of the story is about their friendship. But also, I think that in this version, you can focus on I think that an interesting underexplored aspect of the Sirens is that like a lot of the idea of their allure has been changed over time. Like the modern idea of the Sirens is in large part a Christian reimagining of them, where they are sinful, lustful women. And Rick, I think to his credit, has also done woke Sirens in the sense that like when Odysseus plugged his ears to listen to them and gain wisdom, it wasn't like they had a secret that they could tell him. Like they didn't say your fatal flaw is this. They were like, come. And the wisdom was like, this is the depth of my weakness as a person that I was lured by. Like Rick having this idea that like the Sirens are like actually smart. Like they have tea on you. And that is what is going to make you jump out there. And that like Annabeth could be lured by the Sirens. It's already like, I think a woke Sirens thing. I feel like the girl group version of the Sirens could also give us some of that where it's like like maybe a thoughtful reimagining is that it's not about their sexual wiles. It is about the allure and power of the girl group, that like they are living a life that you could not imagine, that is so tantalizing, like that you also want to be a part of the feminist commune, that like you, a man trapped your rigid little box, would jump off and try to see what they have going on.
And they can asexually reproduce just like in the Acolyte.
Yeah, with magic. They all like hold hands in a circle, sing a song, and then a new siren unfurls before them.
Yeah. And that's Woke Siren. Snaps. I believe next, it's the much anticipated, much discussed Woke Scylla and Charybdis.
They're lesbians.
We're talking forbidden sapphic romance. Not quite Romeo and Juliet, but I think they're coming from warring families under the sea. I think that they are naiads. Similarly to the sirens, there's this idea that as like naiads, their entire existence is just about being attainable and attractive to men and like luring in men, and that is what their entire existence is about. But they break the mold by being interested in each other. Picture like two really mean lesbians. Like they're both Azula.
Yes.
That is their arc. And we're talking like two femme fatale sapphics.
Have you read This Is How You Win the Time War?
Oh my God.
This is basically what
this is
we're
how you lose the time
describing
war.
here. This is how you lose the time war. Hello. Yes. I feel like structurally, I could see this being a good fit in the sense that they are like all of their interactions with each other would have to be these non-conversational, weird, indirect, I'm getting context clues. Right, like, do we think they'd be able to communicate? They're, I guess, close to each other. But I think it would be an interesting story of being like, oh, like, Charybdis sees certain types of shipwrecks coming in from certain sailors and is learning slowly about Scylla through, you know, like, her taste in eating naval officers.
Oh, so you're saying they're already monsters. In my version, what I was picturing in my head is that they begin as regular like pre-transformation, similar to like in Circe, that they are pre-transformation and then they get turned into these monsters. So like they fall like in love or like in interest with each other while they like are living as like naiads, and like that's the thing. And that there is like in this version of the sea, in this version of the Greek mythology sea, there is like a council of naiads that like oversee almost like a mistress of the house kind of a thing, where they oversee all the naiads and like make sure that the naiads are doing their job about being available to the gods and like to men and whatever. And that these two Scylla and Charybdis girls are like some of the best at their job, and that they start to be interested in each other. And the head mistress of the naiads is like, no.
Monsters.
This does not work. Yeah. She's like, oh, you guys want to kiss? That's fine. We kiss women all the time, but you can't do it in public. Like you need to be quiet and sneaky about it. And they're like, no, we want to be open about our love. And she's like, turning you into monsters doomed forever to look at one another as you like pull men in, which is your purpose anyway, and never to be able to touch one another. So it's about yearning.
Okay. I can say, I don't know. Okay. I feel like there are different options available for people who have different amounts of fidelity in their heart to, I don't know, like the core canon, to the extent that exists as a singular entity, which it obviously doesn't. So in the end, they're like separated, but it's like a Sisyphean, like, actually, this is the greatest possible relationship because of da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, okay.
I also think there's something interesting to be said about the nature of yearning in specifically like a sapphic relationship, and like how that historically in some ways was like the fulfillment of that relationship was through the yearning. But I don't want us to say like for a modern perspective that yearning is all that we can have. Like we should strive for more. But I think it would be an interesting way to play with how is the yearning.
But it wouldn't be in a modern perspective, right? Like you're describing like a set of social mores that are like
think Emily Dickinson,
century.
All right? Yes. Think Emily where's my collection of love letters from Emily Dickinson to her brother's wife? It's on my other bookshelf. That's fine. This Is How You Lose the Time War is an excellent comp. Yes, incredible. Anything further on Scylla and Charybdis?
No, I think we got it.
I think that lastly brings us to Penelope. Now, we've discussed in our episode 6, particularly of Circe by Madeline Miller, that we would love to see Penelope end up with Circe in some way. I think that's definitely a valid version of the story. Penelope comes to Circe's island like she does at the end of Circe by Madeline Miller, but instead of taking over as Circe, they live together on the island forever as two women who, you know, they thought they were both interested in the same man. It's like they were interested in the other woman the whole time. You know, they were conceiving of each other throughout the entirety of this relationship, imagining each other. Think about it being, once again, we're going to bring up Charlie Kaufman. Think about being John Malkovich, you know, what it means to, really interested in the Venn diagram of people who like will be listening to this Seaweed Brain episode, which is like 4 people.
And are
and
Charlie
people who
Kaufman
will understand.
completists?
That one person is Daphne Olive. Think being John Malkovich. Think you are like in a relationship with this man, but while you're in this relationship with this man, you're thinking about the other woman. You are.
This is like a increasingly something that it's Death Becomes Her. It's like half of, I think, the current pop women oeuvre now like involves these types of.
Oh,
yeah.
I cannot speak highly enough of Death Becomes Her, the musical, especially the song at the end of the second act where they look at each other and they reprise the song that is initially sung.
No,
the song
not that
that's
one.
sung between okay, incredible vibrato. Helen Sharp and oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. The one man in the musical.
No one knows his name. Bruce Willis.
No, it was a character. They sing a whole song about his name in the musical too.
Ernest.
But anyway, Ernest. Yes. So Helen and Ernest have this musical theme where she goes, "I love you. You're my person."
Yeah.
And then at the end of the musical, Madeline Ashton sings it to Helen, like, "Helen, I think I love you. I think you're my person." And that is
literally what you were pitching for Penelope,
Yes.
is that the man leaves both of them and they're left with each other. I think that is the perfect Penelope story.
Yes. And I was thinking more like a serious romance, but I actually think it'd be really funny to do a more like comedic, satirical look at Penelope
Like
and
an actual Death Becomes Her,
Death
where like they're
Becomes Her.
still a little bit not like they're not like an on paper perfect couple.
Yes. Okay. So in 15 years, hear me out. In 15 years, I will direct a production of Death Becomes Her at a musical theater program where we stage it on Cersei's Island. You know what I'm saying? It's the original text of Death Becomes Her, the musical, but we put it through staging costumes.
And everyone just like
etc.
looks Greek. Okay.
It like looks. Yes.
Okay. That's one version, but I think there are other versions of the Penelope story that you could tell.
Particularly the one where she murders her suitors instead of Odysseus murdering the maids.
Yes. That's definitely available to us. I think that it would also be interesting for her to like just marry one of them. I don't know. I guess that's like not that it's like less controversial because that's a kind of story that has existed. Like, I think Clytemnestra's whole bag is that she does take on a new husband during the Trojan War, and everybody dies in the fallout from that. And it's just like harpies and children and endless cycle of violence. But I don't know. I just feel like perfect waiting woman. We can't do that. And I guess it's fair that a way to break that is that she has like a full second life after Perfect Waiting Wife on Cersei's Island. Without men. I don't know. That's the thing is I like the killing of the suitors, but it feels also, I don't want to say too obvious, because I think it would be fun and exciting.
Did I mention that in the version where she kills the suitors, her son is gay?
And you should. I think that really is important for having us understand the nature of the violence that the two of them will perpetrate correctly.
Yes, because it's like instead of Odysseus taking his son and telling his son to kill all these women, it's Penelope and her gay son killing all of these scary men who are violating their guest rights.
Yes. I don't know. I think I would just be interested in a version where Penelope like turns away Odysseus when he returns. I guess like it's less about whether or not she takes on one of the suitors and basically just says like it's been 20 years, I'm in charge here. You did not actually do a good job. You are no longer capable of doing a good job. You can live here, but as like subject number 453, I got it.
I also think that's an interesting jumping off point for the Death Becomes Her version of the story, where it's like Penelope is running her island with all of her men who she has transformed into working for her. Cersei is running her island with all of her men who she has transformed into animals that she eats and works for her. And then they like meet from there.
I wonder, maybe as a closing moment for this, we can turn it around and basically say, we've dropped a lot of very direct comps. Sex in the City. This is how you lose the time war. Death Becomes Her. What is the place for the adaptation in this? I guess, like, why, like, let's, I guess, close on this idea of, like, why is it relevant to link Death Becomes Her to the story of Penelope and Cersei and to warp the canon?
Because people care about our collective cultural mythology, which as Americans, for whatever reason, we have decided is Greek and Roman mythology.
In addition to like The Wizard of Oz.
Yes. In the same way that we want to see Storybrooke I would also be down to watch Death Becomes Her, but with Penelope and Circe. That there is a staying power to these characters that have been around for thousands of years, and they are probably going to continue to be around. And these are now, much like comic book characters, we want to see them in different scenarios, and these are the scenarios we want to see them in, personally. Do you have a different answer to that question? Or was that an open forum?
No, I think that's right. That like I thought so much about that review that you brought up from Reddit of the 1997 adaptation of the Odyssey, saying that everybody married needs to see this because it's the perfect example.
Man and woman, excuse me, quote it properly,
woman
needs to see this movie before they get divorced.
I think that's such a perfect example of like what the value would be in not making something that only like 20-something-year-olds who live in Brooklyn or wherever are gonna, you know, that like you need to reach that guy and be like, if this is how you feel, then like we need to change the way that you think about the story a little bit. And like maybe you should consider divorce. Like, not saying random Reddit commenter like you might have a great marriage, but I feel like if your idea of a great marriage is this, that's wrong. And so whether or not you have a great marriage, we should, I think a good way to like reach in there and try to rebase that is saying like Penelope, human person with backstory and motivations and a limited time on Earth, is not doing all that and shouldn't be doing all that. And if she does, she's not happy. And this is how we reconcile and like make some of those things actually click into place with a story in which she makes different choices or feels different feelings or yeah.
Absolutely. And if that's not the version of the Odyssey that Christopher Nolan has in his head, that's fine. But if that's the version of the Odyssey that you have in your head and it brings stress to you knowing that this man said that every married person, man and woman, should be watching this film, then you make the version of that story in which he cannot think that.
Yeah.
You do it, not me, and then put me in it. Thank you so much. Thank you. In summation for this week, I would like to say that
Hey, ever turn you are gay?
You asked this last time. I still literally don't know what this is from.
I didn't either until I found it on YouTube. It's from Happy Death Day to You.
Work.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us today in what has been our pitch to you of free IP for adaptations of the Odyssey that you can take moving forward into your life. Next week, we are going to replay for you our conversation with the Mark Oshiro about The Sun and the Star in preparation for The Court of the Dead. We are all very excited finally to get this book. We've been talking for ages about how we need a book about Hazel. Hazel's going to be in this book. We're very excited. So next week, we're going to replay for you our conversation with Mark Oshiro. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about attending the book tour. And that episode might be a little bit late because I'm going to the book tour on a Wednesday night. So that episode might be a little late, like a Thursday or something. And then we'll start reading The Court of the Dead. And then we'll transition back to the Sea of Monsters when the time comes. So putting the Odyssey away for a moment, and we'll continue to address Percy Jackson news as it comes up, pop culture emergencies, etc.
We'll see everyone soon. Happy Odyssey summer.
Happy Odyssey
In many ways, the real Odyssey summer, it doesn't have to end here. If your Odyssey summer continues, power to you. Go on those voyages home and have many epiphanies.
Have many epiphanies. Don't murder anyone when you get there, though.
Yeah. Let's not do violence on women.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye all.